This is a Tabernacle Tidbit, a bite-sized Tabernacle Talk of 5 minutes or less to help you get through your day when you only have a little bit of time. We hope this helps you to know Christ, grow in His Word, and show His love to others. Let's get started. Welcome back to Tabernacle Tidbits, and today we are in 2 Timothy chapter 3 and verse number 9. I'm going to read through the preceding verses. This is Paul. He's writing to Timothy. Would be kind of Paul's last letter that we would have penned in Scripture. He's encouraging Timothy, who is one of the pastors at the church in Ephesus. And Paul's letting him know that there are going to be some false teachers that Timothy's going to be interacting with and having to counter. And as he does so, Paul wants to give him a little bit of a beacon of hope. Verse number 8 is where I'm going to start. He says, just as Jannes and Jambres resisted Moses, so these also resist the truth. They are men who are corrupt in mind and worthless in regard to the faith. And then today's verse, verse 9, but they will not make further progress, for their foolishness will be clear to all, as was the foolishness of Jannes and Jambres. And obviously, as we learned in the last episode, Jannes and Jambres were the names that were given to the two kind of chief magicians, chief, if you will, astrologers in Pharaoh's court that Moses was interacting with, that for the first, I think it was 3 or 4 plagues, that Moses, through the power of God, would accomplish a plague, and then these magicians, Jannes and Jambres, they would have their counterfeit plagues that they would do. So frogs came over all of the land, and so then the magicians, they bring some frogs up, or you have the Nile turn to blood, and they turn some water to blood. It's not helping. It's not undoing what God was doing. It was merely making a mimicry. And so verse number 9, as Paul is encouraging Timothy, he says, these false teachers that you are interacting with that are trying to lead people astray, he says, they will not make further progress. He says, it makes me think of Matthew 18, where Jesus says that Matthew 16, the gates of hell will not prevail against the church. There's not going to be genuine, meaningful progress that is made by these people. And what an encouragement that evil falsehoods, it's not going to last. And frankly, as a pastor, there are times when, I see people and they're hurting. They maybe have put their hope into some false things. And my hope is that they would be able to see the light and that they wouldn't be deceived or deluded by these false teachers. And I'm thankful for this promise that there's not going to be further progress made by them. There is coming an expiration date for every false teaching and false teacher. And I'm grateful for that. And then he says they won't make further progress, and the reason for it is for their foolishness will be clear to all, as was the foolishness of Jannes and Jambres. These Egyptian magicians, they weren't making anything better. They weren't stopping any of the war that God was raging through Moses against the gods of Egypt. So they had their god of the Nile, they had, the sun god Ra, and all throughout the plagues, God is, if you will, spitting in the face of the Egyptian gods to say, these are not true gods, and these people that have set up this religious system for you to say, make sacrifices to this god or to this goddess or to this, group of deities. He says, all of it is useless. I am the one true God. So listen to me when I'm telling you to let my people go. And I love that phrase in there. The foolishness of these teachers will be clear to all. That just as Jannes and Jambres were foolish, they weren't helping anyone, and everyone saw it, and so they gave up. So the foolishness of false teachers will be clear to all. And this can be true if it's someone that's, teaching the Bible from a pulpit, on a podcast and a website, whatever. We can see foolish people. You can also see foolishness lived out in how a person interacts with and treats other people. So the foolishness of a person's teaching will be clear when you then hear slander and bickering and gossip and cruel words or profanity or those types of things in a person that you're able to go, well, that's not the life that I want to emulate. That's not a God glorifying life. So the foolishness of false teachers and those that follow just falsehoods and human made up religions and practices and systems, don't follow those people. Follow the people that are walking in the Spirit of God, that walk with the Lord, that love people. Follow those people, and you will not be one of these foolish ones. Instead, you will be wise as Moses was, following the voice of the Lord. Thanks for tuning in today, and I hope that it'd be an encouragement to you.